Right, Barron? Not
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
All right, cool. I'm going to make sure. Okay, Shawn, you can stand it, right? Give it up for Shawn Barron, everybody. Lots of comedians here.
Yes, yes. Looks like we have a very nice crowd. When it comes to that expression looks like, I find it's often used as a big cop-out by most people in our age bracket. If someone's about 25 minutes past when they should have been there and just get a call, yes, it looks like I'm running late. It looks like I took a graph and some overhead photography, and apparently I might be running late. The other one you get a lot, or at least I do in my experience, is it looks like you put on some weight. It looks like you put on some weight. Yes, you called Sherlock Holmes and managed to officially figure out the mystery of my expanding waistline. Yes, Watson, please get in here. It appears we're not exactly sure what's exactly happened with this situation, but apparently you, over the winter months, have been eating more and doing less activity while your pants have been slowly growing in size. It looks like we might be able to solve this, but I'm not completely sure. But as I said, it looks like we have a nice crowd. I've done a lot of open mics, and I'm sure all the comics here have, and you get some really scary crowds and some scary places and people if you go to a lot of open mics. Probably the scariest one I ever did was in Los Angeles a couple months ago in Hollywood Boulevard. Now, a lot of people hear Hollywood, if you've never been to the city of Los Angeles, they're always imagining, oh my God, it's glamorous, and it's movie actors, and it's, you know, people punching photographers in the face, and that's a very small percentage of what Hollywood is. A lot of it is just a really sketchy downtown industrial area. So basically, the place where I did my open mic could more or less be described as a Charles Bukowski short story. So I get there, you go to this hotel, it's actually called the Hollywood Hotel, which is kind of like all those places, let's say if you went to Miami and you book on, you know, the Beach Bluff Hotel, and in the back, in the courtyard, they're basically reenacting Scarface. That's the kind of Hollywood hotel that I was at. So you get there, you go to the basement. Now, it's at a bar, and I don't mean that they're serving a bar, it's at an actual physical bar, which means you get the drunks who are just kind of wandering down this part of Hollywood, decide to go there. So basically, the first person in the open mic list gets started, and there's a guy, basically right in the front row, who's wearing a cowboy hat and a jacket that seems to be constructed out of the American flag. I don't mean it has American flag stuff, I mean it looks like someone just stole a flag, stitched it together, and that was this guy is wearing for the evening. As soon as the first open micer starts, it basically just, hey, there's a guy talking on stage! Hey, talking man, what you talking about? Did this for 2 people before they finally threw him out. About 2.5 hours later, just as I'm about to go on, he somehow comes back to the hotel with flowers. And I don't mean that he has 1 or 2 or a bouquet of flowers. I mean he's actually gone outside some hotel or some business in this area, picked up a basket, one of the kinds you'd see outside, with about 50 flowers in it, and is now carrying it, swaying back and forth into the bar. Comes up to me, I'm just sitting there on my table, kind of looking over my notes, all getting nervous, ready to go up. Slams the flower pot down, looks at me with a breath that could basically strip the paint off a car, and just goes, "You're not allergic to flowers, are you?" I think I am now. Most of the people carrying them. But yeah, you get through it. I've had some scary open mics. I've also had some scary jobs. Just, if you work in any sort of job in the service industry, you get customers, but then you get people who just come because they want someone to distract them, or someone that they can just talk to and get the weird voices out of their head, my head too, that's why I'm up here. This one gentleman would come up and would always request to pay for the movie in the currencies of countries that don't exist anymore. So he'd just come, and be like, yeah, you know, I'd like a ticket for the new Harry Potter, okay. Do you accept American dollars? Yes, we do. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, my Prussian marks I left in my other pants and just don't have them with me at the moment. You'd also get a lot of people who would seem to want to just gorge themselves at a movie theater, and I could never understand it because the food really isn't that great. I mean, if you want to be a gourmand, that's a cool thing. But sometimes people would just go crazy. We'd just be sitting there, just kind of getting the popcorn ready, and you just hear, this guy would come up and he'd just be like, yeah, I like a popcorn and a candy, and an ice cream, and 2 more popcorns, and a large soda. Pepsi. Diet! It better be diet. It needs to be diet. Hey, honey, do you or the kids want anything of your own? See that. The other thing, I worked at a restaurant for a little while in the fall, and I had to man the phones because I was the host. And if you've ever manned a phone at a job, anyone can call. Anyone can call. So one of the features of this restaurant was we also had a brewery. So one time, I basically got a phone call that went like this. Ring, ring. Hello? Hi, how are you doing? Yes, this is the restaurant with the brewery? Yes, yes, we're the restaurant with the brewery. Okay, see, that's wonderful news. Now, you see, I went apple picking last week, and, well, I didn't really go apple picking. I went with my husband. We went to an apple orchard. He was friends with the owner, so he gave us a bunch of apples. Now, I really like apples, but I can only eat about 2 a day. And we got a basket that had 50 or 60 apples. So I really wasn't sure what it is. She still has not asked the question. So, I decided that I could make a pie. But then I remembered my husband's a diabetic, and I didn't want to get brought up on manslaughter charges a second time. So I thought apple cider. That would be a great idea. But I don't have an apple press. So I was thinking I should call you. Oh, okay, ma'am. Maybe perhaps you could call one of the numerous orchards in New Jersey. Orchards! That's a great idea! Which was a little creepy because it meant one of 2 things. Either this woman was not familiar with what an orchard was, or had access to phone but didn't really know what Google was at this point. So like I said, you see a lot of scary stuff. One of the weirdest things I saw is you see a lot of warnings on a lot of commercials now. Basically, anytime there's a commercial which has a ridiculous stunt, they decide to put a warning telling you that you can't actually physically do this. There's a Jeep ad where the Jeep is just driving, jumps right, lands perfectly on a train. And they actually have a warning in this: do not attempt to do this. Jeeps cannot jump onto trains. I would really like it if they would remove these just so I could see what would happen. Because I think that's just, better comedy than we ever do. You just see a couple of guys, hey man, you see that ad last night? There's a train coming. I think we can make it. You see a guy hits, you see 2 days later at the funeral, yes, Jim died the way he lived. An incredibly fast speed with an incredibly low IQ. The other one I've seen it for is for Pizza Hut ads. They actually have a very brief warning you see very much towards the end of the ad, where it's telling you 2 things. One, that it's instructing you that you should actually have to tip someone if they deliver to your house, that they don't get paid any of the tip in the price that's already figured into the pizza. The other one is instructing you that a pizza delivery driver only has $20 maximum and that you should not rob them. And I'm just really wondering who's out there contemplating this, like who takes the time to buy a gun illegally and decides, yeah man, that's a great idea. We're going to rob a Pizza Hut. Oh, we're going to go to a Pizza Hut and rob it? No, no, no. We're going to make them come to us and rob them. Hold on. Before we do that, we should watch this commercial for Pizza Hut. It might give us some more strategies of how to rob them. What? They only got $20, so I'm not doing this. The other thing I would like to see it removed is you often see on a lot of, hazardous chemicals, they would always say, for bleach or any sort of cleaning chemical, it's telling you, do not drink this, all the things that could happen, here's how to cause poison control. Now, I really never needed these warning ads. I don't think most of us did, because our school teachers all explained this at a very young age, that all of these things, despite having bright, multicolored things that would appeal to a 5-year-old, will be poisonous for you. And the main reason I would like to see some of these ads removed, or some of these warnings removed, is I would think it would just lead to some really amusing situations. I can just imagine if they didn't have those, there'd just be like a bunch of drunken frat guys Saturday night. All right? Having a good time? Everybody got their shot of bleach? All right? Shit, is he dead? Nah, he just looks dead. Thank you very much, Shawn.